that we went out and did anything.
Hell no! Woo!
All right, welcome to the AM Club. We're back again with our next topic. We're podcasting today. And what are y'all doing? Let us know.
What y'all doing, man?
Let us know in the comments, man. So I wanted to touch back on where we left off last time. So really, just the complexities and the perspective of business owners, or recent business owners at that, and how that process started, and how people think that they can do it and it's just easy. And I'm not saying that you can't do it, but I'm saying that people think that it's easier than what it is. Like, of course you can get an LLC like that, and that process may not take that long, but I wanted to talk a little bit about like the hardships of running a business, businesses at the same time. And I wanted to talk a little bit about that because most people, I feel like they don't know, or they don't get that actual candid feedback from people who are our age and are willing to tell them the truth about shit,
And here's the expert insight that you'll get from us is that we're not the most successful business in the world yet. We're not millionaires yet. We're not quote unquote rich yet. There's a lot of things that we haven't quite succeeded in. So we're qualified in a position to tell you that we've already gone through the initial hump, and we're currently on that extremely intense and difficult upward trajectory.
Yeah.
The one that quite literally cripples you every single day.
Every day.
So let it be known, we're not domain experts, but we know enough to at least give you some insight based on what we've experienced and what we've seen other people first-handedly experience.
Okay.
Second-handedly, right?
Yeah.
Technically second-hand, my bad.
So for you, on a scale from 1 to 10, how difficult is doing this business and trying to running multiple businesses? And even if you have a partner, because there's people who want to start a business by themselves, how difficult is it from 1 to 10?
Yeah. So, okay, it depends on how many factors we put in. So for simplicity, I'm going to just give you a general idea, but like Austin said, was it on this podcast or the previous one that you mentioned, like emotional, mental?
Oh, the last one.
Okay, on the last podcast, episode number 1, Austin mentioned that there are a lot of struggles that you encounter, whether it's getting in shape, increasing your education, so becoming more literate. Well, that's, I guess we'll just say becoming more literate. Dealing with your mental health, and then also always growing as a business. Mm-hmm. And honestly, there's a difference between working for a business and having your own business. And like, Bedros Keuilian says, you want to sign the front of the check instead of the back of the check. But you've got to understand that hurts. And it hurts, okay? Yes, your name is on the front. You're the one signing the number. But you have to remember, you have to get the numbers there before you can even sign that check. So scale 1 to 10, if you own one business alone, I would say, and depending on how difficult it is, I'd give you like a 7 to 8 in terms of difficulty. If you have a buddy, a good business partner, like my brother here, I will give you 6 to 7. But that's for one small business. And we don't just own one business, we own a few businesses. So we're talking 8 to 9 even together. And that's mainly because one thing that we've adopted as we've gotten more aggressive with time, because our time is quite literally money. We've learned that you have to dial everything in. Your health, your sleep, mental, emotional, physical. You need to exercise. You need to eat right. And so you're essentially eating and recovering and exercising like an athlete while trying to essentially be a monk mentally, because you want to be clear. That, even if you're not doing anything, is already extremely difficult. And I have the utmost respect for anybody who tries or even achieves.
Facts.
So, if you want to compete at a high level, you have to perform at a high level, and it makes things more difficult starting a business. Mm-hmm. So 8 to 9 is my answer right now.
Okay.
I don't sleep, by the way, which
so that's why
you should.
That's why you should sleep, and
Yeah.
that's why I thought his answer was going to be a higher number than that.
Out of 10, 12 out of 10.
Yeah, that's what I thought you were going to say.
Times I.
Yeah, exactly.
Y'all will learn about I later.
Yeah.
Okay?
We'll tell y'all about I and what we don't know about it and what we do know, but
what we
don't.
Opinionate.
I times I equals -1. It's stupid. But anyway, yeah. So basically, I thought his answer was going to be a lot higher because, like he said, he doesn't sleep. I know how much this guy works in general. It's ridiculous. When he's honed in on something, he just does not stop working on it. So I know how much he works and how much he puts into this shit, and it's a lot. Like, it's actually kind of ridiculous. And for most people, especially starting, what they won't tell you, who knows when you're gonna start making money with this shit? Like,
for real.
Like, even okay, so. At first, the first real hump is making your first dollar. And I always used to tell him, I was like, shit, if we can make that $1 fucking dollar off of this, $1, I know that we can scale it and grow.
And we've already done that.
Yes, we've done that. But the next hardest part, which is kind of just the hardest part in general, is once you make that first dollar, is making that process happen again. Because you can make $1 from one person, but seeing, somebody else and having them kind of see that same value in you that other person saw, it doesn't always flow as easily as you think because everybody's different and everybody's kind of importance for what you're providing them may be different. That may vary. So if you're saying, hey, this person paid me $1 for my service, I'm trying to provide this service for you, they could be like, don't really need it. Even if they technically, for their business, they might actually need it. Getting another person to see that value is part of the harder parts of owning a business. There's a lot of things that you don't necessarily know. You can read all the books that you want, and that might kind of give you some insight, but there's certain things that you don't know about running a business until you've actually run it. Right. And we've encountered a shit ton of those particular things.
Still do.
Oh yeah, every day. Shit, yeah, we talked about it this morning. Our daily fucking scrum. So it's like every person, every potential client, every potential business partner is different. So approaching certain situations is a pain. And I'm not gonna lie. Again, he doesn't sleep. My day has transformed into I can go here and do this and hang out and not really think about anything and just sit here and goof off and and do X, Y, and Z to okay, did I edit this? Are my edits looking right? What are we doing? What are the plans for this week? How are we gonna approach this week? We got to focus on trying to get more retainers for our business so that we can have this monthly income coming in and whatnot. We got to think about drawing up contracts. We got to think about expanding and scaling, and not only scaling but maintaining those numbers that we're seeing once we scale. So say if we scale to 10x, maintain that 10x for months and years in the future. That's another thing that's difficult about business. So there's a lot of things that, are very trivial that you don't even realize until you have the opportunity to run a business, let alone multiple businesses. So, I want you to talk a little bit more about, some of the things that we've encountered that have been kind of, that shit, honestly, most people probably wouldn't stop to think about it. It's like it was something that we had to work through.
I think you hit the nail on the head with I'd say the communication aspect. Because as they say, a dangerous man is one who can communicate his thoughts written or verbal. And obviously it's not only constrained to men, it's men, women, or whatever you identify as. That's why, actually, and it's interesting, I just pulled up our website. We have on the hero section, we have the hero banner image is actually a diagram.
By the way, our website is ATXReels.
ATXreels.com.
Visit that,
All lowercase, no hyphens, no dashes.
You can get your merch on there as well. Trucker
What
hats.
about this one? This one?
Yeah, the trucker hats, hoodies, and shirts. Quick plug. Hey, we're a business.
Shameless plug.
Yeah.
But hey.
Back to the topic.
It's our own platform. So anyways, the visual that we designed for our hero page is actually, it's a diagram that has 4 steps, and it's a cycle. You have understand, strategize, execute, and then optimize, which repeats to, again, understand, strategize, execute, and optimize. And basically, this isn't just for our clients when we're discussing or when we send somebody to our website so that they can see what we're about. It's actually more so for us, because every day we have to understand the problems that we're facing, and not always is it something a problem. And problem has a negative connotation, but not everything is negative. If I need to talk with Austin, I have to understand the situation or the circumstance in order to actually have a meaningful conversation, or else we're just wasting our time and Austin will kill me. That's just that. Then strategize is really important, because if you fail to plan, then you are planning to fail.
That's a fucking bar.
It's just as simple as that, man. So you have to strategize. You need a war plan. We have a, what do we call it? A kill list. And we're not actually trying to kill, but the point is, we're trying to execute.
You just gonna point that out.
Listen,
We're definitely not
killing.
none of that.
All of it, what I mean by kill list is these are the people I'm targeting, or these are the businesses that I'm targeting. I want to work with this brand and this business. How do I get there? So I have to take a step back, understand what that business is, who I need to talk to, what their goals are, and potentially their future. And then I need to strategize on A, how do they get from point A to point B? B, how do I help them get from point A to point B? And C, how do I convey to them that I can help them? Mm-hmm. Well, and it's us, but I say I because I'm talking.
Yeah.
And once that's done, you execute. If you've gotten a yes, you've gotten paid, always get paid first, then you execute your plan. And life, marketing, business, relationships, everything is a science. You will never get it right the first time, and you will never have the perfect solution. So you always have to optimize. So that's why it's a cycle. Mm-hmm. So in short terms, I would say strategize, and learn how to communicate. Mm-hmm. Written and verbal.
Correct.
Minimum written and verbal. If you cannot talk, you can't be the face of your business.
And I was just having this conversation with somebody the other day. Our business and other people's business does not perform the way it does solely because we offer a good service or we have a good product.
Well, by no means.
That's only one small piece. Well, I don't even know small, but maybe half the piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
The other shit, it might be less than that, to be honest, because there's actually people out there that might have a great product. They have a great product and it can solve a lot of problems. However, if you're not able to communicate that your product can solve these problems in a way that people can understand it, can grasp it, can actually believe what you're telling them and get emotionally connected to what you're telling them to make them say, hey, I'm going to give you this money out of my pocket, then the shit's not going to work. So there's actually a lot of people out there that might be having trouble because they have a great product, but they don't know how to market it. They don't know how to get it out there and make people say, hey, that's actually a great product and I want to buy it. Because people might actually stop at, hey, that's a great product, and then swipe up and then they're on to the next thing. But what's the way that you can make people say, hey, you have a great product and I'm willing to buy that? That's that communication part, which Jose was just talking about, that's actually damn near more vital than the product or service that you're providing, is being able to communicate that service and that product and make people say, hey, I'm actually willing to spend money on this. And that's another thing that we've, noticed climbing the ranks of, well, I'm going to say climbing the ranks, but you just going along the trail of
path
of business.
least traveled.
You know, exactly. So it's like, you know, we've had to step up our communication skills.
Oh.
And like we were already,
we thought we were.
Yeah,
good.
we thought we were good communicators. But it's like, again, when it comes to
strategy,
business,
wow.
especially when there's people who are who have their own business and have their product. And again, I mentioned it earlier, but there might be somebody who's like, hey, you know, you have a great service or great product, but I don't need it. So what's a way to communicate to them that shit, you might not realize that you need it, but in order to take your business to the next level, this is a piece to the puzzle that you're missing, and we can help you with that. You have to be able to communicate that in a way that you touched on off camera. You were saying shit. You have to communicate that in a way to where it feels like they kind of got to that point themselves, and not like you're nudging them into deciding to spend money.
Do you want me to get the quote?
Yeah, please.
Okay.
Please.
Okay.
Hey, and by the way, we might also do book plugs as well. Book plugs. Nasties. So, yes, that book right there is what, Jose?
Robert Greene's The Laws of Human Nature.
Correct.
This is... Just read it. I won't say anything. Sometimes the best things don't need to be discussed. But what Austin was touching on is attitude determines of what happens in our life. Hang on.
Shit, this might be where we cut that part and we fast forward to where he finds that.
Nah, we'll keep it in
Yeah,
just for
it.
shits and giggles.
Yeah.
So this is chapter 7. Soften people's resistance by confirming their self-opinion. And don't get this twisted. We're not swindling. The thing is this. When you're approaching a business owner, and I'll tell you right now, a business owner is not a normal person. And real quick, how Austin mentioned, you have to convince the business to pay you. Business owners are tighter on their wallet than any human being on earth, okay? So when you're like, oh, I can get them to spend their money. No, you are sorely mistaken. You could get a random person on the side of the street and convince them to give you $20 before you give a businessman or a businesswoman or a business owner in general to give you those $20.
1,000%.
Based on my experience and the people that I know.
1,000%.
So essentially, the key here is strategizing on how you're being tactful. You're being tactful. So essentially, you're softening the person's resistance and making their opinion or making something seem like they chose you. And so right here, Robert Greene says, make them feel that by doing what you want, they are being noble and altruistic, the ultimate lure. So essentially, always make it seem like what they are doing is of their own free will. And an example of that would be, rather than me telling Austin, hey, we're going to go for a run, I say, man, my cardio is really low. My legs are feeling great, though. It's a beautiful day. That river is calling my name. There are a lot of attractive people running. Perhaps we could partake in a similar endeavor. And then Austin might say,
shit, I might want to go out there and see some of those attractive women out there, you know, and whatnot. So, yeah, that's how he used to be able to get me on that. You used to
the same shit to me, cooking.
Exactly.
Oh, you can't cook a good stir-fry rice? Nah, fuck you. I'm going to go make the best stir-fry rice. Now I think I'm doing it of my own free will. But he convinced me to do it.
So, exactly. And, you know, yes, Robert Greene. But by the way, you know, again, that's another thing. When it comes to business, it's like a war. It's like
it's war.
It's a war, a game. However you want to kind of, you know, trivialize it and whatnot and categorize it. Chess. It takes, you know, it
takes a certain level of acumen.
Yeah, like, you know, you can't just walk in and say, hey, I can do this for you, buy it. No. You kind of honestly, like how we were able to convince each other to do certain things that we might have been hesitant to do beforehand. It's because, one, we started off with, and this is another good book, the Simon Sinek, Start With Why.
Yes.
It's a great book. So you have to understand a person. You start with why. So he knows that I don't necessarily like to do cardio all the time. I actually hate that shit. But he knows how to incentivize me to do something that I don't want to do because there's something out there or there's something in that equation that I might like, along the way. So he knows how to mention that and kind of play down the actual cardio aspect and play up some other things that might incentivize me to go out there. And same thing happens with business. So you might have to have a conversation with somebody and, start with why. Like, hey, why'd you get into business? Oh, we're family owned. Oh, so you're very focused on family. Okay, that's really great, So how long have you been in business? And really get to know them and understand their business. So, not only does that help you because you get to understand how you can help them better, but it also helps them like you more because you're not coming there just saying, hey, we do this, pay me money. So it goes back and forth. It's a mutual thing, but it's also, again, a game at the end of the day. Like, you have to understand who you're talking to, start with why, and understand them so you can get to the eventual goal, which is doing that service for them where they can pay you. So, like Jose mentioned before, depending on how you approach it, it could be seen as malicious, but how we're describing it is not malicious because we're trying to understand a person so that we can help them better. However, we're also getting paid in return. So it's a mutual partnership. That's why we say we don't have customers, we have partners, we have clients, because it's not just a one-way thing. It's a partnership. We're providing a service, we're providing you quality service at that, and you are providing us with, cash, capital in return. But you have to know how to kind of get a business person to want to loosen up their pockets and pay you that. Because like Jose said, getting somebody who runs a business to pay you is actually one of the hardest things in life to do.
And for good reason.
Yes, they're running a business. Everything costs money. So they have to be very tight with how they spend their cash. They can't just give it out.
Because you will bleed money. And I don't think anybody enjoys bleeding.
Exactly. So knowing how to go about that whole process is very, very vital and pivotal to getting that first dollar. Talking about that first dollar. Like, that helped us get our first dollar and helped us get dollars after that. And hopefully will continue to help us get dollars.
I really want to touch on that point that you made where you were saying get to know the business owner so they like you.
Right.
But taking a step back from that, who are you to think that you're so good and being so arrogant that you can just show up and be like, I don't know who you are. I don't care about the business you run. I don't care about the store you have. I don't care how you got to where you got to. Pay me for something that I haven't even told you about or given you any reputation for. Like, even if you're the top of the top, your reputation never truly precedes you. Because at the end of the day, you're working person to person. And that actually, that's something that we see. That's predominantly why we work with smaller businesses and not larger enterprises, because you lose that interpersonal connection. And that's, you have to give to receive. The ratio is 8-2. You have to give 8 times in order to receive 2 in a long-term basis. If I want to work with Austin continuously, and Austin wants to work with me continuously, we have to give more than we receive on a continual basis.
And speaking of which, Jose, speaking of that, and this is something that people don't really think about, did we make money the first time that we went out and did anything?
Hell no! Woo!
You see what I'm saying? So back to that 8-2 rule that he had is like, we had to put in a lot of effort and time for free just to kind of get our wings beneath us, and also to show people like, hey, we're willing to do this for you pro bono because we want to help you. And also, this is also helping us practice, sharpen our craft.
Yeah. Yes.
So because we're at a point to where our quality, initially where our quality wasn't up to par yet.
And we thought it was great.
Yeah, we thought it was all right, but we weren't coming in like cocky assholes being like, hey, let's charge $1 million for it. Like, no. We're like, hey, we'll do this shit for free.
Because we like your business.
Because we like your business, we like you and what you're trying to do, and we want to help you. And then after that initial step, and you have to follow up with that, because you can go into that and provide some free crap that after you provide the free crap, they're not going to pay you after. So you have to provide free shit that is something that you could be paid for.
And the odds are, though, that the free crap, they might still benefit from it.
Yeah.
Even a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, it depends. But, with us, we're very particular about everything that we do, whether it be editing, color grading. Like, we'll get upset and be like, fuck, this is too pixelated. I got to work on this next time. Oh, the transition is off by 0.1 milliseconds. Like, that's something that I had to do yesterday.
Shifts, just shots.
The smallest things. And we're still improving.
Or even negotiating, or talking, or trying to client source.
Right.
Like, you realize, like, shit, I should have said this.
Correct.
Or, damn, why did I say that?
Right. So there's so many things that we're still trying to work on it. But, we had to, and this is something that I feel like if you have your own business out there, what you could benefit from, or if you're just starting off and you're trying to look for some tips to get into the game of running your own business or being an entrepreneur, is like, hey, you might have to start off doing something for free first. Prove yourself to them. That way that client or that partner is willing to pay you then, because it's like, hey, they came out there and did this for free and provided some good quality, and they just seem like good people. Okay, I'll pay you, instead of going out there like, hey, we can do this. Because again, you might have a great product, but if you're coming in like a cocky dick and saying, hey, this is what I did, pay me. For most business owners and just for people in general, like,
they're gonna kick your ass out.
Like,
they're gonna be like, well, fuck you, man.
Yeah, like, I'm not doing that. Like,
Race,
I can
man.
find somebody else to do that, or shit, I could do it myself. And that's another thing too. What makes a business say, I'm going to pay you as opposed to me doing it myself? That's another. There's a lot of things that you don't think about until you get this business, or you have those businesses that you don't think about. And it's like, fuck. That potential thing that you didn't think about could fuck up your whole business, because you don't understand that, and you don't understand what separates me from my competition, but also separates me from them doing it themselves. You might not make money ever, or you may not grow the amount of money that you can make.
Just because you can understand and you can justify it to yourself has no bearing on whether you can justify it to a business owner.
Right.
Well, and here's the thing too, like, don't get it twisted. We always shoot for the stars, but we're not saying, don't get stuck in a loop where you never do anything because you're a perfectionist. What is it? Perfection is the bane of whatever.
I know what you're talking about.
See, low latency.
Exactly. But that was literally his main thing when we started, because you could talk a little bit about that, because you were talking about how you're a perfectionist, you want things to be perfect like right away, but you got to pay your dues. Right.
And you have to just do it, because that's the thing. I heard something the other day somewhere, some podcast. He said, what was it?
Damn.
It was
latency.
It was provide for loading. It was work for free, learn for free, optimize for free, and then get paid. And so basically, and that's exactly what we did, and we still do it to this day. If we have a client that's on our kill list, again, not literally kill, it just means that's a target, we want to work with them. That client, we will sit down, we will strategize before we even meet them. Okay, what's their business? How do they operate? What do we want to do? How could we help them? And then, armed with that information, we find the best person to talk to. And that means sometimes you have to come multiple times at odd hours. You have to take that time out of your schedule. Like I said, you've got to be humble. You have to be humble. You're not that important in all of reality. You're just a little blip on the radar of the earth. Imagine the universe at that. So, pull down your ego, corral it, talk to the people you need to talk to, and then execute. And what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to prove your value You're going to have to show it in order to earn it. You can't just be like, give me this. I'm worth this.
Right.
I don't even know where I was going with that.
No,
that just went this way.
No, but we're saying basically, it's going to take that level of, like you said, humbleness or humility to, get to where you want to go initially. It's not going to be, sunshine and roses immediately. This is going to take a lot of repetition. Like, I don't think people understand how much we work, because from the outside looking in, it's like, oh, they just post, they post every now and then.
Oh, you don't see anything on the back end. For one business, you don't see anything at all.
There was a point in time where we were posting 3 videos a day.
3 Instagram Reels, 5 days a week for 3 weeks.
And each reel, even though some of them could have been about the same thing or the same product, were completely different.
Different audio, different editing, different lighting.
Everything. So it takes a lot of repetition. You got to get those reps in. You got to go to the gym and get those shots up. Because, you could be talented. You could be talented at whatever you do. But if you don't have those reps, in the crucial moments, it's not going to matter. Like, there were certain times where, we did that after that 3 weeks. We had a small to decent sized portfolio. So we had some reps. And then we got put into a situation where it was like, hey, they want us to come out, film some stuff, and then once we filmed it, we're like, fuck, man, we don't want to wait to edit this and, give them something tomorrow or the day after, make them wait. Let's edit this right now. And show them same day. Let's edit this right now and show them right now what we did and prove that, hey, we came out here and we're serious about this. And we actually have the quality, and we have the tenacity, we have the quickness, and we showed them that. And I think it took like 10 to 20 minutes to edit that shit right there. We were on a park bench editing the shit,
sweating our asses off. Well, at least me.
It was hot. It was hot. We were sweating, and edited right there. Showed it to them.
Oh, don't forget the audio.
Oh yeah, the audio.
We waited 20 minutes trying to get signal in the area. That was the struggle.
You see, like,
you don't know.
Little things like that is just like, shows who really wants it and who doesn't. Because we could have left and posted it tomorrow. However, who knows? Waiting that day could have made them not want to work with us. It could have gave them opportunity to cast some doubt into their mind about, they did an okay job, it seemed like, but we didn't see anything, So we didn't want to wait to have that opportunity miss for us. So we waited there. We waited for the audio to sync with the Instagram post. We waited for the shit to post. Extra. And
then the reposting on the stories?
Reposting on the stories.
That was like 40 minutes for the post, 20 minutes for reposting. It's like an hour, and then plus the editing, plus the filming. That's like 2 hours. On a Sunday,
yes,
at 11 a.m. in 90 degrees Fahrenheit with like 60 to 70% humidity. Indirect sunlight.
Like, we're not telling you this to toot our own horns. We're telling you this like, this separates those who can't make that dollar from those who can make that dollar. Going that extra mile, even taking that extra footstep, editing that extra video, shooting that extra content, like, it just doing the things that most people won't do to win. And a lot of people, surprisingly, if you have that business and you are kind of, like us as far as you have that chip on your shoulder and you're willing to put in the work, most people stop when it gets to any level of resistance.
Yes, because, and resistance hurts. It's painful.
It's not fun.
But you have to pick yourself up by your bootstraps and get your shit done. Or you'll forever be stewing in mediocrity. Which, hey, fine by me, if that's what you want.
And I think it's funny because there's ways to kind of help people understand it in a way that kind of breaks it down a little bit. And I feel like going to the gym is I talked about another kind of way that, that relates to business that we talk about off camera, another topic that kind of relates to business. But the gym also relates to business.
The latency.
Yeah, I know. The gym.
God, I don't even remember this.
The gym also relates to business in a sense that, you're going to have to do the things that you don't want so often and so much that it becomes habit to where it starts to feel, okay, I've done it before, I can do this. It just happens a lot faster to the point to where the business just runs a lot smoother. So like when you go to the gym, initially you may not want to go 5 times a week. You may not want to go 6 times a week. You may not want to go 7 times a week.
Yeah.
But you have to force yourself to go and make yourself uncomfortable and do those things. Do the extra set. Do the extra rep to where you keep doing it. After a week, after 2 weeks, after 3 weeks, it turns into a month. And then you have like that habit, the repetition of doing it, and it becomes easier. With business too, you have to put in those reps. You have to get used to doing those things that you don't want to do. However, doing those things that you don't want to do separates you from winning and losing.
Well, most likely the things you don't want to do are the most important things.
Yeah.
Because they're the most painful.
Yeah.
It's not enjoyable meeting and talking to new business owners. It's not enjoyable asking for money either. Right. If you are comfortable asking for money, congratulations. Yeah, we'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
But in your heart exactly what you need to do. You need to make the phone call. You need to make up with a friend. You need to get smarter, read this book, talk to a new connection, try to build your network. You need to apologize to your mom or your dad or for whatever. You need to go to the gym. You need to fix your diet. You need to sleep more. You need to drink more water. You need to take your supplements. All these things but you don't do them because they're hard.
Right.
When as humans, we naturally take the path of least resistance because that's how we evolved.
Right.
But I think that, see, now latency gone. Oh, what I was gonna say is that Austin, you had a good point that it becomes easier, but don't let that dissuade you because not everything gets easier. Some things will always be hard. Leg day is always hard, and if it's not, then you need to check yourself, okay? Because you're not going hard enough. It's like Nick Bear says, you need to go one more. You always need to improve. So it's like you hit that point of comfort, then you have to break through. You have to go harder, period.
I think it's also, maybe we're just crazy, but...
Likely.
Yeah, that's highly possible.
It's probably true.
Yeah, But it's gotten to a certain point for us, and it might be the same for most people who are in business, that they like that part.
Yeah, you like the pain.
You like the pain. You like going to leg day and not being able to walk after, because that shows you, okay, you did something worth doing.
It's like a battle scar.
Right.
Yeah.
I
earned that.
Exactly.
I can't sit on the toilet. I earned that.
Our first fucking check, we earned that. We went through some shit to get that first check. We earned it, and of course we're grateful for it. But we earned it. Going through those hard processes,
It was not given.
Right. So it's once you go through those processes, Jose said, you may not get easier per se, but it might, you'll feel more comfortable in those moments going about it because you know that, okay, going this harder path, doing this thing that's more difficult than the next is going to lead to some good outcomes. My legs are going to get bigger. My arms are going to get bigger. If I hit, arms hard, if I hit chest hard, my chest is eventually going to get bigger. If I, stay consistent and do abs on, whatever basis, I'm going to get abs. It's going to pay off in the long run.
It's a long game.
For sure. And life is a marathon, not a sprint. And matter of fact, this is my rant piece. A little bit of rant, but starting. A lot of y'all that we know of.
Because we don't know about
we don't know a lot of people. We know, a lot of people we know of. A lot of people may know us. But a lot of people thought that life was a sprint. And I think that whole time when they thought life was a sprint and we're looking at people behind them saying, ha, you're behind me. that realization that life is a marathon and not a sprint is something that I'm glad that we didn't have to find out the hard way. We always had that chip on our shoulder to be like, hey, you know, right now, it might look good for them right now, but I'm going to put in the work. Even knowingly or unknowingly, we're putting in the work so that later on, you know,
well, we won't even... Go ahead, my bad.
No, go ahead, because we had the same perspective on this. I know.
Like he's saying, later on, I was going to make it a little more petty. We're not even going to look back. We don't even know you're behind us. We weren't even focused on that. You were looking back when you were ahead, but we don't look back when we're ahead. We got no rearview mirrors. The only direction's forward.
You know, and this the petty piece. You know, we're saying this. We're not rich yet. However, we know that we're willing to put in the work to get to where we need to go. One way or another, we're gonna make it. I promise you that. So when it comes to going through those experiences where people used to look back and say, hey, they're losing the race, they're losers, or them not respecting us because, you know, we weren't focused on the same things. Come to find out, the things that we were focused on at those times were the real things that we should have been focused on, and now we're here and working our way to be up there, and, you know, other people may be down there. So it's like you have to realize that set yourself up for tomorrow. Don't just live in the now. Of course, you have to live in the now, you know, every now and then, enjoy the moment.
Yeah.
But set yourself up for tomorrow. People don't realize that, you know, once you do whatever you did today, there's going to be another day after that, hopefully. And then possibly another day if you're lucky. Then years after that. Then years after that. Then decades after that. Are you going to be okay when it gets to that point? Did you set yourself up now to have a good life later on? These are things that people who win in life think about. They're thinking about legacy. Yeah, like the first thing we fucking touched on. They're thinking about legacy and how not only their life is going to be later on, but their kids' life, their grandkids' life is going to be later on. These are the things that you have to think about now to help you be successful in the future. Don't think about life as just a sprint. It's a marathon. Do the little work now and succeed later, and instead of putting that off and just want to live the life now for whoever the fuck you want to live life for. That
or to impress.
Yeah. And shit, sorry to break it to you, but even if you have hella followers or you think people care about you, people aren't paying attention to you as much as you think. And those people that you do have that you think are paying attention to you and you think care about you, let you go do some shit and see how far, or let you try to do something and see how long those people stay around. So, you know, it's not always about those things. Those things are fleeting. You have to find something that, you know, is solid, that you can build a foundation on, and focus on that, build it, work it every day, and try to make sure that your life is set up in the long term again, not just the short term. Like, and that's my little rant. A lot of people thought this shit was a sprint, and we showed them, hey,
see, but you know,
this shit's a marathon, though.
It's a marathon of sprints.
I'm gonna let him get it.
That's why I don't sleep, and he does.
Yeah, like go ahead, bring it down.
Well, here's the thing. Okay, if I'm sprinting a 400-meter race, I'm sprinting just in one shot 400 meters. But then if I realize it's not a 400-meter race, it's a 1,200-meter race, I'm fucked. Because I gave everything I had at 400, and now I got to do that 3 more times? No. Well, 2 more times. Yeah. 2 more times, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, 2 more times. My bad.
Is it?
Yeah,
no, 400 is 1 lap.
Yeah, but 3 laps total, so 2 more times. That's already completed.
Okay, yeah, okay.
Strategy. Optimizing. Yeah. Now, if I know going into the race, I'm running a 1,200-meter race, I know that I need to pace my 3 laps at a certain pace to achieve a certain speed. That's why I like the saying that life is a marathon of sprints. Because marathon, generally, people think, oh, I can just slow down. No. You're pacing yourself strategically, but that doesn't mean you're going slow. But you're in it for the long run.
And that kind of goes with the agile methodology,
Right?
You know,
Working
in sprints. Yeah. So if you don't know what that is, basically, you know, you're working in 2-week sprints. Sprints, basically like a time allocated for you to get specific tasks done in those 2 weeks, and you focus on that in those 2 weeks, get that done. Then in the next sprint, the next 2 weeks, you move on to the next task and focus on that in that sprint. So, you know, that kind of goes with that, as well as, like, you know, life's a marathon of sprints. You have to focus on, you know, certain things in your life in that particular sprint, tackle that, handle that, and then once you're done, move on to the next thing. And however, you have to realize that you're taking the work that you did and the knowledge that you acquired from that last sprint and potentially using that to, you know, do things in the next sprint moving forward, which can hopefully, you know, make that process of completing the work faster. So, you know, being a life learner, he talked about that before, you know, and all that stuff. So,
well, and everything's connected. It's like you said, you have to build a foundation and then build off of it. Mm-hmm. It's like what in the Bible. There's the fool who builds his house on the foundation of sand.
No, he built it. Yeah, he built it on the sand,
rock,
and it washed away. And then building it on the rock, you know,
it stayed sturdy through the storm.
You know, so
it's like my dad actually uses the quote, the analogy from Sir Isaac Newton. If I see far, it's because I stand on the shoulder of giants. And so that's legacy. If you don't, you know, it's some personal background, at least on my end, right? I'm a first generation. My dad and my mom came to America from Nicaragua during the last war, the Civil War, but my grandparents hustled day and night to put my parents in school. And, you know, my dad went to 2 to 3 schools at a time, private schools, everything, learned Spanish and English simultaneously, got to this country, put food on the table, started a family so that I am where I am today. He had his first business at, I think, age 40, and we started our first business together of a couple that we have, like I've mentioned a few, at age 24. That's 16 years younger. That's where I mean we stand on the shoulder of giants. Right. So it's the same thing. If you're building a tree for your family, you want your children to have all the shade and all the fruit that you have worked hard for. If you don't plant the seed, you don't take care of the weeds, you don't water the tree, you don't feed the tree nutrition because you need nutrition, you're not going to have a tree. Like Austin said, you're going to, you know, a century from now, 2 centuries from now, 3 centuries from now, what do you have? Nothing. Whether we win or whether we lose, whether we become rich or we become broke, that is entirely up to us, and it's entirely up to you. It's in your hands, within reason. It is.
Because shit's going to happen.
Shit will always hit the fan.
But it's, if you want to either wallow in it or use that as a learning lesson and then move forward from there and grow from there. Me personally, I don't even think that I can lose. You know why? It's not that I can't take an L.
Right.
I don't think that I can lose because even if I do take an L or I lose in the common term of it, I take that as, what did I do wrong? Okay, I did this. I'm not going to do that next time. So when I move forward, I'm going to use that as a learning lesson so that I can keep that in mind for how I moving forward. That way I won't make that mistake. That way I'll be smarter when I approach certain things moving forward. So to me, we can't lose, because even if we do fail or we do take an L, we're going to use that as a learning lesson. So the next business, the next client, the next partnership, like we're going to take that in to that and know how to handle those certain situations when they arise and work through that. So that's why I say, you know, life's really about how you see it. You know, if you think that shit's happening to you then you're gonna be depressed and be sad and not come up with a solution to get yourself out of those problems. However, if you say, hey, you know, what's going wrong? How am I playing a piece into what's affecting me right now? You know, is it in my control? If it's out of my control, then there's not shit you can do about it, so why worry about it? You know, you're wasting that mental aptitude that you have and all that energy that you have on something that you can't even control in the first place. And if it's something that you can learn from it and grow from it. Don't say, I lost money or something bad happened to me. Like, this is just going to be horrible for my life forever. Like, no, use that going forward to be even stronger.
There's no losing unless you consider yourself a loser.
Yeah.
You are either learning or winning. No in between.
Right.
Unless you're a loser. And that's mentally.
Yeah, that's all on you.
That's not literally.
That's literally all on you. It's either you take losses or you take learning lessons.
Your problems are your own problems. I promise you the world is not out to get you. Because if the world was truly out to get you, it would have gotten you by now.
And the world doesn't discriminate on the shit that happens. Like if your tire blows, it's not because it's you. I promise you that could have happened to somebody else. There's plenty of times where you're driving along the road and you see somebody on the side of the road with their tire busted.
Could be you.
Could have been you. So the world doesn't discriminate on that type of shit happening. Not saying, you know, politics and all that other stuff. Of course, people might discriminate. But I'm saying the world and shit that happens randomly doesn't discriminate because it's you. Shit happens to everybody. So either you're going to learn from that shit or you're going to wallow in it. So again, you can either take losses or you can take learning lessons. We want to take learning lessons. We view shit as a learning lesson as opposed to losses. So, you know, that's just, if you want to take it that way and you want to be, you know, kind of down and out, you can do that. But I promise you, if you see shit as a learning lesson, that'll help your mental more, it'll help your life more as a whole. Like, it'll do wonders. So,
and that is the struggles that you will encounter starting a business.
That's just the tip of the fucking iceberg.
We could go on forever.
You definitely could.
But
we're gonna have to find a way to chop this up because that's low key 2 episodes.
We're gonna close this out.
Definitely 2. Goddamn.
And we will say, get to work.
Get to work or I'm gonna get to work. And then you're not gonna have any fucking work to get to.
Do it before we do.
Yeah, or you're gonna be watching us in a yacht.
And
in fucking Dubai